Turkey said to me.
I see that.
Turkey said, you got it.
She used to tell me to look left, look right. Don't stop for nothing, honey child. Just keep stepping till you get home. And she would say not to stay out. Spot trouble coming for a mile. Just keep stepping soon as you know that you will be alright. If you just listen to me, I've been around a while. And you can believe your mama knows. Yeah. And she would tell me, watch out for that man. He's gonna get you if he can, and he ain't worth turning your head around. So you gotta know what you're about. Don't let nobody slow you down, 'cause you've still got a long way to go. But you will be alright if you just listen to me. I've been around a while, and you can believe that mama knows. Mama knows. Yes, she does. Don't listen when they try to turn you around. You got to keep your feet on solid ground. Girl, you keep on going and you're gonna fly. You can't stop until you try. Only you can know just who you are. Every good man will drive a fancy car. The substance of your life is what you do. Learn from what you're going through, and you'll be alright. If you just listen to me, I've been around a while. You can believe your mama knows, yeah. Mama knows. I know the mama knows. Pretty little girl on the front porch swing. Why can't she be a superstar? Don't you know, sweet little girl, you already are. I've been taught to hate my face, this veil, this smile with such disgrace. But when I taste of love, you're somewhat out of place, and I feel fine. Pretty little girl on a front porch swing, just wishing to be beautiful. Her dreams are wild, her heart is so full. Wish for new eyes in these dreams, and hope for gray old maize. wish I'd never learned the truth, my beauty and my sacred youth. And seeking both were lost. Will I ever be soothed? How can I be soothed? Will I ever be a superstar? My mom works in an all-night diner. The way she tells it, my daddy was a race car driver. Yes, he was too fast. Maybe some good things are too good to last. My big sister done gone and joined the Navy. They say she's crazy, but I'm thinking that maybe she might even see the world. Gotta go through some oysters if you're looking for pearls. And hold on to your dreams. I guess I'll see where it takes me. I hold on, I won't let go. Might be a long shot, but you never know. If no one's told you you are golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on. I tear it up on the track just like a regular junior. I just sit back and relax, and pretty soon you're wondering how come I'm not already there, although I've already won. I hold on to my dreams. I guess I'll see where it takes me. I hold on, I won't let go. It might be a long shot, but you never know. If no one's told you you're still golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on. I'm the girl in a souped-up hybrid. If you're wondering when I'll pass you, well, I already did. You'll never catch me. If you never blink, then you can watch me. I hold on to my dreams. I guess I'll see where it takes me. I hold on, I won't let go. It might be a long shot, but you never know. If no one's told you you're still golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on. I assure you, you are golden. You'll come to know it if you just hold on. If no one's told you you're still golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation at Montclair. My name is Marcus Gray Hauk. I serve as the Director of Music Ministries, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. Thank you for being with us again. If you're watching this service live on Facebook or YouTube, we encourage you to share your name in the comment section and let us and each other know that you are here. The hymns today will be led by our members Bridget and Becca Nast. And for the closing hymn, they are going to be joined by our guest preacher, the Reverend John Crestwell.
Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the skies, through the land? Do you hear In the heights of the plain, in the vale of the pain, in the sun, in the rain, do you hear, do you hear? Through the roar, through the rush, through the throng, through the crush, do you hear in the hush of your soul, of your soul? Hear the cry, fear what's new, hear the heart's call to will, hear a star's startling trill in your soul, in your soul. From the place where you stand to the outermost land, do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear, do you hear? All the dreams, all the tears, all the sighs, all the prayers, they are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear, do you hear? We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way.
We are indeed building a new way. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever age, identity, history, ability, gender, sexual orientation, or political affiliation, you are welcome to bring your full self here.
Grounded in faith, we come together to nurture the soul, inspire hope, and bring into being a more just and loving world. Today, we will be held and inspired by the wise counselor and prophetic leader, Reverend John Cresswell. You might remember Reverend John from our installation where he preached the sermon. Reverend John T. Cresswell serves the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Annapolis, Maryland as their co-executive minister. He's also in a co-ministry there. And Reverend Cresswell lives his commitment to working with and for the marginalized markedly in his development and leadership of Awake Ministries. You'll hear the Awake Praise Band in today's anthem.
Reverend John, our dear friend and colleague, is leading the way in transforming our faith in a holistic manner And like us, he is a self-proclaimed Unitarian Universalist evangelist. We are so glad and honored that Reverend John T. Cresswell will share worship with us today. If you're joining us at 10 a.m., please continue with us after worship for a virtual Connection Cafe, which begins at 11 a.m. Check your email and realm announcements for the Zoom link. And now it's time to light our chalice, that beacon to guide us through these times together. Perhaps you have a chalice or a candle at home, anything that you can illumine. Let us light together our collective chalices as we share our chalice lighting affirmation.
Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. And let us open our hearts to love one another.
With our chalice lit, we now turn to our invocation. An Invocation for Difficult Times, written by Elena Westbrook. When all around us voices are raised in anger, hatred spilling into the streets and sparking more hatred, sometimes the best we can do is to sink our hands into the soil. Let the fights over abstractions ebb away, flow like water into the earth, and fill your fingers with dirt that is itself the product of rocks worn to powder over millennia, leavened with particles of other lives, lives of leaves and vegetables and even animals, once as warm and active as you are now. Everything dies and returns to its source, breaks down into the ingredients of some new life. Bits of hummus, squirming bacteria, a tiny egg. This is real. The sun warm on your back, the soil cool under your bare feet, a tiny new stem that will unfurl to grow a sweet red tomato, and the hand of a friend gently helping you to rise. Even on our most difficult days, we can touch the soil and be grateful for the earth and the love that sustains us.
Come and pray in us, Holy Spirit. Come and pray in us. Come and visit us, Holy Spirit. Spirit, come. Spirit, come. Veni, Spiritu, Creator, veni, 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 Spiritu, Creator, veni, 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 Spiritu, Fuente de vida, Holy Spirit, come and visit us, Holy Spirit, Spirit, come, Holy Spirit, come and pray in us, come and pray in us, come and bring us, Spirit, come.
Come, Spirit of life, come. We enter into this space of depth, each as we are called, finding a soft meditation and deep reflection, an ardent prayer, each as we are called, but all together. And we enter into this space by hearing the lamentations, the requests, and the remembrances of our community. Let us hear one another, to heal one another. We light this candle to lift up Arlene Dodge, who with COVID-19 is now recovering from pneumonia. We hold Arlene in our prayers and lift up Lou Dodge, who is caring for Arlene as she heals. We light this candle for Georgiana Hart, who's been struggling with health concerns, especially struggling with the not knowing. We hold her in our prayers and meditations, hoping the tests that she has undergone point to health and healing. We light this candle for Marcia Mandel, who has been journeying through fathoms of uncertainty and profound challenges related to her health. We see Marcia's strength, and we hold her in our shared strength. We light this candle in honor of all who have voted and will vote, and the advocates who have made it possible for more of us to participate in the right of democracy. We light this candle lamenting the surge of COVID-19 cases in many areas in the United States, including Brooklyn. May we find ways to better treat those with the virus as we act responsibly to keep it from spreading. We light this candle for the announcement of peace talks by Armenia and Azerbaijan. May the people of Nagorno-Karabakh be blessed with peace from this attempt to solve their difference through negotiations. We light this candle for Jonathan Price, a 31-year-old Black man killed by a white Texas police officer in Wolf City. Price was a well-known man in their tight-knit community. The officer has been arraigned on murder charges. May all citizens be similarly held accountable for their crimes, no matter what their profession. We light this candle for a new grandbaby. Charlie, Minister Emeritus to our congregation, and Judy Ortman have a new baby boy grandbaby that was born to Carissa and Will at 9:21 on Tuesday night, 7 pounds, 9 ounces. Mom and Dad and baby are all doing well. And we light this final candle for the joys and sorrows that have not been spoken aloud. In the silence that follows, you are encouraged to speak the names of those that you are holding in your prayers or meditations. And if you're joining us live on Facebook or YouTube, please add these remembrances to our chat. May we hold this silence as this silence holds us. May our listening bring forth acts of love. Will you pray with me, reflect with me, be present with me? So much is moving in our lives. I want to keep this simple. Spirit of life, help me, help us to keep this simple. Ground us in the possible, in the expansiveness of this moment. Connected with our community in prayer. We breathe, stilling our bodies, allowing the intake and the exhale. And we move from breath to gratitude, lifting up one blessed thought, one thing, one person, one moment that we can be grateful for. We lift up our gratitude and we turn, still breathing, to lament the sins of our nation, the brokenness of our world, and the errors that we have made. Lamenting, we ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness for one slight, one weakness, one struggle that feels unresolved. Breathing, we feel forgiveness. And with forgiveness, we carve out space for praise. Praise for the holy of our understanding by whichever name we use. God, glory, life itself, creative spark, unity, praise, lifting up, praise, celebration, praise, witness that we are not alone. not forsaken, that we are held by something larger than ourselves that urges us even now to joy. Breathing, gratitude, forgiveness, praise, we keep it simple in these chaotic times. We breathe. We survive. We breathe. Why? To be the change in our lives, to change our world. Oh, holy, may it be so that a change is gonna come. A change is gonna come. A song of lament that lifts with possibility, just like our prayer. Dear friend and colleague, Reverend John Cresswell, and the Awake Band are our guides for this change that's gonna come.
Let me tell you this. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, but just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming. Long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Ooh, it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there, yeah, beyond the sky. It's been a so long time coming. A long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. What you gonna do, son?
I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming.
A long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
Oh, yes it will.
Hey, then I go. Then I go down to my brother. You know what? And I say, brother, my brother, will you help me? Will you help me, please? Will you help me, please? Help me, please. But he winds up, you know, knocking me back down on my knees. Back down on my knees I go.
There's been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on.
It's been a long but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it
The reading is by Brene Brown. Belonging so fully to yourself that you're willing to stand alone is a wilderness. An untamed, unpredictable place of solitude and searching. It is a place as dangerous as it is breathtaking, a place as sought after as it is feared. The wilderness can often feel unholy because we can't control it or what people think about our choice of whether to venture into that vastness or not. But it turns out to be the place of true belonging. It's the bravest and most sacred place you will ever stand.
The wilderness, the desert, the 0 point, the unknown, the void. It is here that true growth happens. When we are confused and grieving and unsure, that is where we grow as a people and a planet. Mother Earth has sent us inside for a while so we can heal, so she can heal from our foolishness. She gives us a few days of sun and we get ambitious. And then she sends us back in with the cold and the rain so we can contemplate again. To sit in those dark, uncomfortable moments. That density, it's like dark matter in space. It's soil, the dark. I was thinking the other day, what if space is creation's garden, full of planets and stars and galaxies, this vast Garden of Eden? You see, the soil is the dirt, the ground. And when it's good soil, it's fertile. Things can grow continuously. And in that space, we are creative and innovative and thinking about all the possibilities. Now, soil can also be overused, which is why some Native American tribes were nomadic. They knew the earth needed to replenish itself when the ground was depleted, and so they moved around place to place during different seasons. Well, when we are depleted, what happens to us? We began to hear those old fear-based narratives that have not served us well in our lives, telling us what we can and cannot do or what we can't become. So sometimes the soil must be scorched. You've seen farmers do that, to be cultivated. And that is that we must cancel those negative thought patterns, burn them off with lots of spiritual practice. Breathing, meditation, quieting the mind, which seems sometimes impossible given the times that we live in. The soil, the wilderness, the desert, the unknown, the void, same story. That is where we give birth to new constructs. You've heard it said that there's a dark night of the soul that each of us must have in our hero's journey. But we learn to survive and thrive as a person, as a planet. In the biblical story, Moses had a wilderness experience, and he came back and he led his people to freedom. In the comics, Supergirl and Superman, they have this fortress of solitude that they go to recover, to restore their balance so they can restore the outside balance. Inside first, outside second. Although I will say that outside leads to inside and inside leads to outside. So, did I say I was a mystic? So we go from hibernation to participation. We go from isolation to innovation. The dictionary online says that to isolate something means to set it apart, to detach so as to make it alone. To isolate is to quarantine. And so we have to go back inside. You know, my mom used to tell me, boy, make sure you come in when the street lights come on. Mother Earth has told her children to come in the house. The street lights are on. You can't play outside for a while like you used to. You're grounded. But this is not punishment. Rather, we are being asked to get in touch with the ground of being. Grounded is where we find our true essence as sentient beings. We realize that we're not alone, that we're not forgotten or abandoned. And my fear now that things are rapidly moving towards reopening, that we will forget the lessons that we're learning. I hope not. You see, when we're truly in touch with the ground of our being, the God or no God of your understanding, we remember that we are enough. That's what I like about Brene Brown's reading. We are enough. And by the way, Unitarian Universalists have been saying this stuff for decades, that you are enough. Seems that secular society is catching up with us, which means we have to change our game up. We've got to move and progress society even further. And that's good. We can also give them time to catch up. But our values are beginning to permeate society, and that's good. But don't forget to get grounded during times of isolation. Get grounded to the best parts that you can find. You know, I find it interesting that in 1918, people didn't know where the flu came from, this deadly flu in 1918. The Spanish had a relatively free press and began reporting sicknesses before any other country, and hence the name, the Spanish flu. But guess who else was getting the blame for starting the pandemic in 1918? China. Sound familiar? It seems that societies are always looking for someone to blame. And guess what? Back then, they didn't know where the flu originated in 1918. They just blamed another country, and then they later realized that the Spanish flu began with American soldiers after World War I, somewhere in Kansas. History repeats. Some of you saying, now what's going to happen now? I'm unsure. Well, you want to know sort of what's going to happen after this pandemic? Go back and look at 1918 and in the next 100 years after that, leading up to today. But look at what happened in the next 50 years or next decade. That will give you some idea of what will probably happen with us, because societies repeat behaviors. And it's only when we learn from the negative aspects of our behavior that we're able to progress forward as a species. That's my hypothesis. And I also like to believe that every major positive or negative karmic blip in the human timeline is a reminder of what we got right and what we got wrong in history. And so we have to repeat it and learn it. In many ways, I don't know if you've seen the movie Groundhog Day, in many ways, it's much like that movie Groundhog Day. You know, the character repeated the day over and over until he figured something out. Science fiction is science fact. Fiction can oftentimes lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So we can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result decade after decade, century after century. So the pandemic is new to us, those of us who are living now. I was born in '69, so I've never seen anything like this. A lot of people born before 1918 who experienced that are not alive anymore. We don't have their historical context. But humans have suffered far worse historically. In fact, we've been isolated many times in human history. So we go from isolation and loss to innovation and growth. And I believe society gets a little better. In the years that followed the Spanish flu, better chemistry and biology advanced. DNA would be named by the 1940s. Arts, music, spirituality, they all advanced. But we miss the mark with how we treat other human beings. That's where we always seem to miss the mark. Especially those who are not Eurocentric. We miss the mark in designing a New Deal that was for everyone. And as I said, evolution makes us repeat these things with dis-ease. And that's what's glorious about life. We get to try again and again as a species. I'm a theologian, but I'm also a scientist because I believe in reason and logic. But I also have this thing of gut intuition. So really, what I'm talking about is a kind of cosmic evolution. And we have to have the courage to embrace this new old paradigm, repeating paradigm, which is constantly what I describe as a dualistic struggle for balance. And I tell my members, balance the polarities in your mind, in society, and you will experience peace. For me, this is how Mother Gaia, Mother Earth works. I don't know if you've ever seen the Gaia principles. You can look that up online. But Mother Earth, from time to time, must regenerate and rebalance. And yes, what we have wrought over humankind and to each other, to the planet over the last 100 years, requires a timeout. Time to get grounded, refocused, and rested. Then we'll go out and play some more and be more responsible beings. My mantra is to do less harm. I didn't say no harm. I said less harm, because we all do harm, whether we realize it or not. We do harm as a first world. We do harm because of our social programming. But how can we do less harm? How can we make the kickback from our negative karma less dreadful and toxic as a species? By leading with love, compassion, understanding, by looking within ourselves and realizing the foibles and the things that we need to work on. That's how. And encouraging others to do the same. Stop blaming. Start accepting 100% responsibility for your life. That's how. I miss going to church. I've been a church boy since I was 10 years old. And I miss it a lot. The hugs, the kids scurrying around, the smells. You ever notice how churches have a certain smell to them? And I can tell you that at least once a week, I feel sad over our situation in the world with this pandemic, with this current administration, with the lies and the lack of integrity. But then I remember the process, and I realize that some things, if you know the process historically, are inevitable. What's the process? Life, death, and rebirth. I remember the Hindu Trimurti, the process of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, The process of living and dying and living to infinity and beyond. And when I remember this and I don't get caught up in the day-to-day, I experience moksha, or moksha, release. I experience a foretaste of glory divine. I experience the kingdom. I get regrounded. It's like when you go to sleep. You're tired, you're worn out, you've given your best for that day. And then you awaken anew with courage and hope. Because that's the flow. Isolation to innovation, death and resurrection. Recognize the flow. Recognize what Mother Earth, Gaia, is calling you to right now. Your wave of emotions, it's natural, and you should be surfing, having ups and downs. That's okay. But don't let the despair suck the life out of you. Touch the earth. Take a walk. Find something that restores that eternal sunshine. Find that thing that reminds you of your higher aspirations. We are in a massive paradigm shift, and it's for the better. There's a lot of pain in growth. But many ideas are emerging. I know that many ideas are emerging in your congregation. Sundays will change as we know them. Many of us will have to have live services that may be socially distanced, as well as a Zoom service or a recorded service of some sort. A lot is changing. But I will tell you this, because I understand history and humanity, we will get to hug again. We will return to church in person. We will get to go to concerts and sporting events in large numbers. All of that will resume in due season, so faint not. And I can say to you that I am sure that after 24 months, we will begin forgetting what we've experienced, like many mothers who tell me they forget the pain of childbirth over time. But we must try our best not to forget this moment. The impact will wane, but let us remember the lessons that we learned. Let us remember during this system reboot how we're resetting our consciousness. This is an end and a beginning, and an end is a beginning, and a beginning is an end. But I will say to you as I close that we must continue leading the way. Leading the way. We led the way with marriage equality, and look what we did in our nation. Racial justice, we have been leading the way. We have to keep leading there. Look what's happening in our country. That's what we do. We lead the way. Keep leading the way. This is not a time of condemnation, but a time for recalibration. And I am anxious and excited all at the same time. Dear friends, get regrounded. That's my message to you today. Be creative. Innovative. Be Brahma. Yes, create for relaxation and enjoyment. Create to be mindful. Create for yourself. But also, while you're in isolation, create for the greater good. Dare to be a new, unsettling force for innovation. Dare to be more. You are not a widget any longer. We have entered a new age of love, and so let love guide us. Let peace guide us until we meet again. Thank you for listening to me. Blessings on you, blessings on your community on this marvelous journey of life. I say to you, amen, namaste. May it be so.
Reverend John, thanks so much for bringing us a word strong and true. And now, beloveds, will you reflect with Reverend John and with all of us? What innovation is growing from your isolation? Our final hymn today is Life Calls Us On, with Reverend Cresswell and Becca and Bridget Nass from our own congregation singing. Life calls us on.
Here in reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known. With a pledge to one another that
Life calls on us to be present to one another and the needs of our world. When you give to our offering, 80% of your gift will care for the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Montclair, and 20% will support our Justice recipient. This month's Sharing Our Riches recipient is Campaign Zero, a comprehensive platform of research-based policy solutions to end police brutality in America. Funds donated here support the research and analysis of policing practices and the development of legislation to end police violence nationwide. You can text to give, mail us a check, or go to our homepage and click on the donate button. This is a time of need. All of your gifts are worthy, and they are all received with love.
As Reverend John T. Cresswell shares, we can change the world with our love, so let love guide us, because our thoughts are life's thoughts. We participate in the collective story, co-creating history, composing tales of love to share with our posterity, adding to the collective consciousness and the unconscious dream that we call evolution. Praises be.
Our worship has ended. Let our service begin. Go in peace. Go in joy. Go in love.
Until we meet again.
Virtually or otherwise, you are in our hearts.
Man, you know what that turkey said to me?
I see that.
Just said, you gotta be.
She used to tell me, look left, look right. Don't stop for nothing, honey child. Just keep stepping till you get home. And she would say not to stay out. Spot trouble coming for a mile. Just keep stepping soon as you know that you will be alright. If you just listen to me, I've been around a while. And you can believe your mama knows. Yeah. And she would tell me, watch out for that man. He's gonna get you if he can, and he ain't worth turning your head around. So you gotta know what you're about. Don't let nobody slow you down, 'cause you've still got a long way to go. But you will be alright if you just listen to me. I've been around a while, and you can believe that mama knows. Mama knows. She does. Look now. Don't listen when they try to turn you around. You got to keep your feet on solid ground. Girl, you keep on going and you're gonna fly. You can't stop until you try. Only you can know just who you are. Every good man will drive a fancy car. The substance of your life is what you do. Learn from what you're going through, and you'll be alright. If you just listen to me, I've been around a while. You can believe your mama knows, yeah. the front porch swing. Why can't she be a superstar? Don't you know, sweet little girl, you already are. I've been taught to hate my face, this veil, this smile with such disgrace. But when I taste of love, you're somewhat out of place, and I feel fine. Pretty little girl on a front porch swing, just wishing to be beautiful. Her dreams are wild, her heart is so full. Wish for new eyes in these dreams, and hope for gray or maybe cream, or better even still, the bluest ever seen on this bright star. And set my course for Wish I'd never learned the truth, my beauty and my sacred youth. And seeking both were lost. Will I ever be soothed? How can I be soothed? Will I ever be a superstar? My mom works in an all-night diner. The way she tells it, my daddy was a race car driver. Yes, he was too fast. Maybe some good things are too good to last. My big sister done gone and joined the Navy. They say she's crazy, but I'm thinking that maybe she might even see the world. Gotta go through some oysters if you're looking for pearls. And hold on to your dreams, I guess I'll see where it takes me. I hold on, I won't let go. Might be a long shot, but you never know. If no one's told you you are golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on. I tear it up on the track just like a regular junior. can watch me. I hold on to my dreams. I guess I'll see where it takes me. I hold on, I won't let go. It might be a long shot, but you never know. If no one's told you you're still golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on. I assure you, you are golden. You'll come to know it if you just hold on. If no one's told you you're still golden, you'll come to know it if you just hold on.